Hey, so what's up? So this is unfortunately the first part of my Snake Eater retrospective. I thought I was gonna have the whole video out today, but unfortunately I had a lot of production issues. I lost like the first 65% of my playthrough. So pretty much up to where Volgin captures you and you get tortured and you gotta escape the prison. I lost everything before that. So that's fun. I'm having to use a lot of speed runs and like Snake Eater fan uploads of random stuff from the game to help me get through the playthrough. But overall, having fun time edit. It was just I have like 30 minutes of recording left, so that sucks. That's like my least favorite part of editing. I tried to brute force it, and I got so burnt out on it. Like I had to delete the video, but it sucks. But my original timeline was for it to be out today for the Metal Gear Solid 3 Delta remake. You know what I'm saying? I'm excited for that, but kind of have to drop it to at least. My plan is for next Friday. No later than 2 weeks, okay? No later than next Sunday. That's my plan. I know some of the audio is not going to be the best in this video. I ain't the best at recording my scripts at the moment, but I'll hopefully get better soon. I should probably fix them all in the final video. This will be like the first 15 minutes. And also, I plan to use this delay to make the video even better than I planned it to be originally. So, yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. Sorry about the delay. Hope you guys enjoy. Snake Eater. The year is 2001. America is currently falling apart. Windows XP just dropped. Oh man, this is not a fun year at all. But most importantly, 3 banger consoles dropped on the scene like fucking nukes. We got double attack from Nintendo with both the Game Boy Advance and the GameCube. And Microsoft dropped the Xbox. Not really important to the video, I just wanted to mention both those consoles, not gonna lie. So, the games industry is going crazy at the time. And the PS2 got 2 bullets in the chamber. Number 1 is Grand Theft Auto 3, which you know, GTA 3 changed the industry and shit. But number 2 is a sequel to one of the greatest games of all time. And the best-selling game on the PS1, Metal Gear Solid. Which after some changes after the good old 9/11 on November 13th, 2001, Metal Gear Solid 2, Sons of Liberty dropped on the scene. And shit was pretty much laughed at by fans and critics at the time. Right, this is where I start clearing up a lot of misconceptions. A lot of critics loved MGS2 on release, but a lot of fans of the original were not fans of the protagonist switch. Everyone's talking about this, but MGS2 was marketed as the return of Solid Snake, and like 2 hours into the game, bro dies. Now skip forward 2 more years, and now you're some blonde twink named Raiden who's got no personality and whines all the time. But that's the point of the character. I know it takes a minute for this shit to come to form, but that's Kojima. You give your time in return for an amazing story and great gameplay along the journey. But it's really evident in MGS2. But of course, if you played MGS2, which you probably should if you're watching an MGS3 video, but I'm not your dad, you know what happens. It's all that led to Kojima, who was done for the series again for like the 3rd time, decided to return after the team we left Metal Gear with, struggling to make a new follow-up, which makes sense after he revealed the entire world was puppeted by a shadow government. Kojima wanted a couple new things when starting development. One, seeing MGS2's reception, he decided to make the next game for the fans, which I think is important if you follow the story structure for MGS3 specifically. And 2, he wanted to focus on survival elements. He eventually decided on the jungle environment as something different from previous Metal Gear environments. He also wanted players to start miles from civilization to have to work their way up to the base. All this was just the beginning stages of what would become one of the greatest games of all time, and what some would say is the greatest Metal Gear game, Metal Gear Solid 3, Snake Eater. So before I start the video, I want to establish, I know there's like 80 trillion videos about Snake Eater. I'm pretty sure somebody out there said most of the things I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say it better and cooler, so keep watching, bro. And look, I know no one gives a fuck about every single detail of my playthrough. However, I'm gonna go through my now 2 playthroughs of the game while skipping over some parts and trying to avoid retelling over the story like a fucking Wikipedia entry. So it's time to sit down, relax, and listen to my rambling. So before we get into the game, you're asked to pick your favorite Metal Gear game. I picked 2 because that's my favorite game in the series, and it changes a couple of small things throughout your playthrough. Like picking MGS2 starts the opening cutscene with Snake hiding his face with a Raiden mask. This comes as Raiden hate was calming down, and it seems it's just another infamous Kojima troll as this becomes part of your camo for the rest of the game. And it kind of comes back full circle later. But this opening scene establishes that due to Snake entering Soviet airspace, they can't get low enough to land, so Snake performs the first ever Halo jump in history. Now, what mission is so important they have to perform a halo jump into Soviet land? Well, the next cutscene answers that for us as we learn that. First,
Classic Metal Gear info drop.
we learn that a famous Russian rocket scientist, Sokolov, requested asylum in the United States for a mole 2 years ago. We learned that this operation to recover Sokolov was done and commanded by the same man who was commanding this mission, Major Tom as it's called. But only a week later, the Cuban Missile Crisis, which was a crisis for Russia threatening nuclear war, only one offering of peace being Sokolov. JFK is signing off on him, sending him back. Our mission is to get him back to the West and ensure his safety before constructing the weapon Shagohod. As we paraglide to the ground, we get our tutorial, which I admit isn't the greatest. Instead of just giving the information how to control and grasp mechanics of the game, instead we get our codename Naked Snake. And our first exercise is to climb a tree, which a big leap in terms of MGS games mechanic, where you're mostly in a base with little to no nature in sight. But this triggers another codec where Major Tom explains we must find all weapons and food on this mission on the field, which explains our naked codename.
You're completely naked, just as your name implies.
We are explaining in the boringest tutorial how to go through the menus and how to use the fake death pills and other survival mechanics. After which we are introduced to our support team.
Paramedic, a flirting nurse who will get also saves our game, and it's kind of like Rose from MGS2, but she likes movies. That's it.
Signet, a weapons expert who explains questions for us and gives tips. And finally, the boss, a legendary soldier and personal mentor to Snake himself. She's been gone for 5 years, and Snake is surprised to see her. As they catch up, Snake learns what she's been up to. Snake learns that she's been on a top secret mission and lectures Snake on the importance of soldiers and how they are ultimately a tool of politics, which is an ever-changing and evolving thing, and especially for a career soldier, you just kind of do the job you're given, not questions about the right or wrong. While Snake fights back, stating he has to fight for the president, the boss responds that the president and the cabinet changed times to control the times, as nations, loyalties, allies, and enemies, and that a true soldier can only focus on the mission. It was interesting to see a naive Snake, and this part looking back, it just seems like the boss trying to tell the Snake something while not being able to tell because of her mission, which we'll learn about later. We also learn about the Cobra Unit, the boss's legendary combat team that won World War II. We give our first introduction to CQC as we get her codec info and are told to call her battle tips. We are told that Sokolov is being held in an abandoned factory in the jungle, and to be honest, his intro is a little too long, and most of it is spent setting everything up, and I felt like this intro could have been a more interactive and engaging way, and learn how to do shit like move bodies, something I didn't learn till after my first playthrough, not gonna lie. I feel like this would break up the pacing as well as after you did the tutorial. Just climb a tree and walk around, and that's it. Overall, it's not a very good tutorial in my opinion, and as a game where you can do a lot of cool shit, they kind of fumbled this. It's kind of crazy, but still, the opening section of the tutorial is concluded with a sick cutscene of Snake revealing the codename.
Commencing virtuous mission now.
I think the beginning is where the environmental design of Metal Gear Solid is at its peak. I mean, Kojima sold you a survival game, and damn it, you're getting a survival game. This part on the bridge where like a dumbass, I tried to take him out, and I kept getting caught with the body till I realized you could shoot the beehive above him and he'll just run off, because I didn't get the cutscene at first. The answer never feels so out of sight in this game, and I think the best part, it is the best of the Metal Gear Solid series in my opinion. Well, MGS1, it's like how the fuck could anyone guess the CD case did, especially in the modern age. Well, it was a cool thing back then, and now it just hasn't really aged the greatest. The Psycho Mantis fight is legendary, but no one could have guessed to unplug your controller until they waited till the colonel called you and gave you the solution. But in this game, it always felt like the solution was right out of sight. I mean, I always pretty much found it, or I made my own with the tools at my disposal. So after the bridge sequence, I just want to point out this, the D-pad in the PS2 game, or holding the RB or L1 button, pretty much any other version, is the best way to go around those enemies, as it slows you down and also has no noise with your footsteps. But hey, the stock paired with the roll goes crazy. But especially after you parry that motherfucker with a CQC takedown, got you feeling like a goddamn ninja. Well, let's get back into the story as we find ourselves in the weapons factory with Sokolov, but it's swarming with guards, as this is the first stealth outpost of the game where you're given an environment, enemies to take out to sneak through something, or to get to the end of a given goal in this case. But this one is really fun, as you've got enemies all over the place. You even got one on the roof. You get to hide on the roof and take out more enemies, and it just really shows how good Metal Gear Solid 3 environmental design is once again. But after you take out the enemies, you finally get to meet Sokolov, who you tell you
him, what's up? And he's like, yeah? And Snake is like, I was sent by your boy who got you out 2 years ago, gang. He's got a message for you. He said, my bad, G. And Sokolov's like, yo, the ops is on the way, gang. We gotta hurry. And Snake's like, who's the ops? This is where we learn about the main antagonist.
Who's they? Colonel Vulcan of Group. You in the West know him as Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt? Never heard of him. He's a member of the Army's extremist faction, a man who seeks to seize control of the motherland. Ever since the Cuban Missile Crisis 2 years ago, a certain group is plotting to use this opportunity to seize power by rallying the anti-government forces, overthrowing Khrushchev, and installing Brezhnev and Kosygin in his place. The mastermind behind this plot is Colonel Vulcan of the GRU.
But the guards were actually supposed to prevent Colonel Vulcan from capturing Sokolov in the first place. We gotta get him out of there before Vulcan could capture him. We immediately run into some familiar trouble.
So this is the legendary boss.
Huh?
Huh? We meet at last.
You're from the Ocelot unit of Spetsnaz.
Huh.
What's a GRU soldier doing here?
Ocelot returns in this game as a young man. This game establishes Big Boss and Ocelot's relationship and rivalry, and eventual friendship as in games we see in like MGS5. This is also where it's established that I've only played MGS 1, 2, and 3, and 5, and that's pretty much it. And 5 barely affects the story, and not gonna lie, I haven't beaten it yet because it's fucking long, and I go back and forth on it. It's kind of my in-between game, and that's why I love it, not gonna lie. Just play, if you hate MGS5, just play it like that, and you love it, trust me. A side note. But anyways, back to the cutscene. I'm sorry to have to speak on how goofy this noise is. I know it's kind of a dead horse. I'm sorry. But like, what the fuck is this, bro? This noise summons his GRU operatives. And Snake is like, motherfucker, check this out. And takes them all out and schools this motherfucker Ocelot with the MGS1 reference at the end there.
Then die.
But that was some fancy shooting. You're pretty good.
Pretty.
The quick Kodak call with Major Tom, you meet with them. After catching up, he spots the Shagohod, the weapon capable of launching IRBMs. He also tells us that the weapon is at the end of Phase 1, and that Phase 2 is where Colonel Vulcan will end this Cold War and the World War III will begin. But with no Sokolov, no weapon, and Sokolov requesting us to leave, we oblige. While we cross the verge into the fog, an unexpected ally returns to us. The boss shows up in the flesh.
Hornets.
And her homies pull up in a helicopter and steal Sokolov. Like, dog, what the fuck?
Kuwabara.
Now Vulcan's here in the flesh, and this nigga got lightning powers. Alright, what the fuck is going on here? The boss just bitched the fuck out of Snake. and then break his fucking arm right after defecting to the Soviet Union? Oh, fuck. My man Snakes might be cooked. Oh, he's cooked, dog. Oh,
The new blood has been rejected.
Barely hang you. This is where you're introduced to the survival menu and treating your wounds, how it affects your stamina and health. It's a really fun mechanic that adds to the survival experience in this game. Snake pops his arms back in place, and while waiting for extraction, Snake catches the Shadow Hawk, and Snake and the boss share this moment, showing that the boss still has feelings for Snake. But before Vogan, the son of a bitch just couldn't help himself. And also, I was like, chill. But Vogan's like, nah, fuck this shit. And like the crash out he is, fucking nukes the whole base. And this is while Snake is waiting for extractions. You know, bro got a little bit ready. So this brings us to the conclusion of the Virtuous mission. And just going over it, it's a pretty great prologue. It just sets up the rest of the game and pretty much every character, all toppled into the greatest intro in the series. But the twisted, the boss's betrayal is such a great moment, with a great setup for the rest of the game. The nuke dropping is just another problem, and Snake's quest is great. How will bro come back from this? Like, I don't think there's a comeback from this level of cooked, man. Like,
How does it feel to be
after
a patient
being
in one of the most
extracted,
advanced
Snake is straight into
ICUs in the
ICU.
world?
And is immediately accused of treason and being accomplice to the boss's actions. However, they are just looking for a scapegoat. But when Major Tom visits Snake in the ICU with details on their next mission to clear Foxhound's name, Major Tom had a meeting with the CIA where fucking London V. Johnson received a phone call from Nikita Gorbachev. It's like, dog, you got a week to prove you ain't do this shit, dog. And America's like, shit, send a nigga back, bro. Snake, assigned by Major Tom 3 objectives. Rescue Sokolov, stop Vulcan's faction, destroy the Shadow Hawk, and eliminate the boss. Vulcan's death orders came specifically from Khrushchev. Now they send my man with a fucking jet back to the jungle, and his first task is to meet with the NSA agent who defected to the Soviet Union 4 years prior in 1960. The codename Adam. After landing, Snake calls Tom to go up his mission, and Major Tom decides to change his codename to Major Zero. And Snake is given a password for his meeting with Adam. The question: who are the Patriots? The answer: Lolly-Lilo. And oh shit, they bringing back the Patriots from MGS2, or they're just fucking with us? I guess we'll find out.
Understood. Commencing Operation Snake Eater.